you are tired of relying on agencies, you're generating leads, but they're not the right ones, you want better brand recognition in your area, you don't want to blindly rely on third parties or continue to buy leads, so it's time to bring marketing in-house, and now you're trying to figure out how. Now that you're ready to bring marketing in-house, you're looking for the next steps and build a marketing machine that helps you grow your brand and generate your own inbound leads, but you don't want to burn everything to the ground. Marketing is an essential function of the business, but there is a lot of noise out there. The reason why it's so important for you is because no one knows your customers better than you. You know what you want the business to look like. You know where you're taking the company. You know your customers the best. You know which customers you want to work with, which jobs are the most profitable. So as you take your marketing in-house and you really dial things in so that you have that brand recognition that you really want in your local community, there are a few simple things that you need to be doing to make sure that you're building that strong foundation, that you are focusing on the right areas so that you are building that marketing machine, building up a steady stream of predictable, high-quality appointments to fill your sales team's calendars. I personally and our team here at Contractor Dynamics have worked with hundreds of contracting companies just like yours all over the country. We've seen people bring it in-house for the first time. We've worked with people who've had it in-house for a while, but one thing that we've seen pretty consistently is we see some people get that shiny object syndrome, right? They bring it in-house and they try to do everything at once. And so they start to do all these things and they're going to become TikTok stars and they're going to sponsor every single school and they're going to create 1,000 pieces of content. And what happens when you start to focus on everything instead of going consistent and deep on a few specific areas is you burn out. You steadily over time can't keep things up. You don't have a sustainable system inside your business that helps you really build predictably. So one thing I want to mention before I go through 5 simple things that you should have to bring marketing in-house and build that strong foundation is that consistency is key. In marketing, consistency provides and creates certainty. And when we can create that certainty with our marketing, we're going to attract people over and over and over again. Without that certainty, without that consistency, it's really difficult for us to build a strong brand presence where people think of us constantly when they think of our service. It's vital for us to keep it simple. We want to build steadily and keep the end in mind. When we focus on a few specific systems, instead of trying to do everything at once, we build that strong foundation. And that comes from consistency. When you bring your marketing in-house, there are 5 things that you should be focusing on in order to make sure that you have that strong foundation that you are able to build over time, that you compound your wins, and you can scale a business that has an internal marketing machine that helps you become the 5-mile famous go-to brand in your area where you generate your own leads, you don't have to rely on outside sources, and you have that beast inside your business because you're showing up in the right places in front of the right people. Number 1, put time in your calendar. This might seem really simple, but I've seen this happen over and over again, where an owner or a sales manager or someone in a business says, I'll take over marketing, I'll do it in-house. And then what happens? We get pulled in different directions, a fire happens. There are things that grab our attention. Marketing gets pushed on the back burner and nothing happens this week. We don't spend any marketing activity this week. That's where things start to fall through the cracks. We don't pay attention to the systems that need that attention. And it's difficult to create that consistency, that certainty, to generate those leads, to really create that good, strong brand presence. It's important that you put some time each day and every single week, every month of the year, even in those cold winter months where maybe you're not actually doing a lot of projects. We need that time in our calendar that is protected. If you're an owner and you're taking marketing in-house, other people need your attention. Your phone rings, people ask you questions. There are other responsibilities that you have when you wear those other hats. If you don't protect your marketing time and schedule it out every single week, inevitably, those things are going to go on the back burner and you're going to struggle to create that consistency that you're looking for. It takes intentional work daily, weekly, monthly, throughout the year so that you can build up that brand, so that you have consistent eyes on your services and the problems that you solve, so you can generate more referrals, have more organic reach, and be able to really meet those goals that you have. So spend some time saying no to some other things because you're prioritizing one of the most important functions in your business. It is vital that someone in your business wakes up every single day and thinks, how can I get this brand in front of more eyes? How can I grab more attention? How can I make sure that new people see us today, this week, every month for the entire year? Number 2, focus on these 3 areas: search, social, and in your local area. Let's start number 1 with search. The reason we would recommend that you focus on search is because specifically Google LSAs, they're pretty straightforward and simple to set up. You can run them on your own in-house. They're easier to optimize than, for example, your Google PPC pay-per-click campaigns. They're gonna have a lower cost per acquisition, and you're gonna be able to show up in voice search. You're gonna have that optimal location in search. Second, you're gonna focus on social media. We wanna get this consistent. Social media is often a neglected part of our marketing because people don't necessarily understand how to utilize it best to grab attention, really show your value, and then convert customers. Showing up on social media. What should you prioritize? We're going to recommend that you start with Facebook and Instagram. As you get more consistent and you're creating content, you can branch out to things like YouTube when you're creating more and more video content, LinkedIn, especially if you're creating partnerships, and then TikTok if you have the bandwidth to be able to post multiple times a day. Now you might ask, how many times should I be showing up every single week? Well, we're going to recommend that you show up consistently. It's better to show up 4 times a week every single week than to show up 7 times this week and 9 times next week and 2 times next week and none the following week. That inconsistency limits your reach on the algorithm, and again, it leads to uncertainty. Pick a number that you can stick to. Spend some time to schedule some posts out so you're not having to come up with content on the fly that very day. And when you schedule that content out, you have the ability to show your value. You have the ability to let people hear your voice and know a little bit more about you through visual and audio content. That way people are consuming some of your content before they even meet you, so there's a degree of certainty there. And then the third is going to be your local community. It's important to determine who your most ideal customers are and then show up where they are. That might be at that local school in the area where you want to do every single roof, right? Maybe you sponsor the school. Maybe that's just really dialing in your build site marketing. You should make sure that if I drive by your build site, there is absolutely no doubt what company is replacing that roof. I'm talking trucks and wrapped vehicles and yard signs and catch-alls and door hangers at the neighbors and apparel and custom underlayment, whatever you can do to ensure that everybody in that neighborhood knows that you are present in that neighborhood, go forward with that. That might be community events or parades, but it's important to make sure that you have a visual local presence in your area. So those are the 3 areas where we would really recommend that you spend your time every single week when you start to bring your marketing in-house. And that leads us to number 3, content creation. You need a system and a plan for creating specifically video content. There are a few reasons why. Number 1 is going to be most of our digital platforms right now in 2024 are optimized for video content. We've got stories, we've got reels, we have our shorts, we have long form content. Customers and consumers in our market and our next team member and our next referral partner can hear us talk, can hear us explain our systems, can hear our customers tell their stories through video. There's familiarity that's created. There's more of that certainty. We're able to show more of our value through that video content. There's connection there. So for example, let's say that you get your team involved, which I highly recommend. When your team who's out in the field gets involved in creating video content and prospects consume that content before the inspection, and then there's someone who they recognize from a video that shows up at their doorstep for that inspection, imagine how much better that appointment's going to be when someone they kind of know, someone whose voice they've already heard, whose laugh they've already heard, is there at their doorstep, right? That level of connection there that's so important, that really helps all of our sales team become mile famous, that helps our closing rates go up, it helps our brand recognition just really get solidified in our areas. A couple of things to remember. If we simply come up with video content that we're inspired to create day by day without creating a plan, the likelihood is we're going to run out of ideas. We're not going to feel creative. We're not going to know what to say. We're going to go on and on and on before we get to the point. And our content is either we're going to burn out and it's not going to be consistent, or our content really isn't going to be punchy enough to grab people's attention, to show our value, and actually inspire people to take action. So it's important that we come up with a strategy. That's going to mean we sit down and spend some time planning out some content, maybe around the events that we're going to, around the builds that we're doing, around the most frequently asked questions that we get. And then once we create that plan, the structure for that content, then we plan it out. We block off some time and we go film that content, and then we distribute that content onto our socials, onto our website, wherever else, right? Into our ads. But it's very, very important to make sure that you have a strategy and a system for consistently creating that content. A way to do that where you don't have just one single person who has all that pressure is to train the entire team. For example, you could create a checklist where on every single build, we gather these 3 images and these 3 videos. Everyone on the team is doing that. Then whomever is actually maybe editing that content, distributing that content, doing something with that content, they're going to have a plethora of content where they're able to then pick and choose the best content. They're able to plan things out over time. They're able to get more data, go deeper, be more consistent, and dial in that marketing messaging. Number 4, track. Track. It's so important once you've created content and you know where you're going, you've gotten your content out, that you have a plan for tracking your activity, that you have a plan for paying attention to where your dollars and your effort are going and what is coming back based on those efforts. So make sure that you put some integrations in place so that you're able to see what kind of traffic are you getting and where is it coming from? What are people clicking on and why are they clicking on that? Where are they going after that? How many leads are you getting? Where are those leads coming from? Where are your best leads coming from? Make sure that you not only have a system for tracking, but you actually spend time reviewing the analytics, the numbers, the KPIs on a regular basis. A part of that marketing time every single week needs to be focused in tracking. That way you can make really good data-driven decisions on what to arm of your marketing, what channel of your marketing to scale up, and what to dial back based on the results that you're getting, based on the traffic that you're getting. Make sure with tracking that you track 2 separate kinds of metrics, okay? You need to track your lead generation metrics. How many leads? How many appointments? Where are they coming from? Are they converting into dollars? How many dollars, right? That way we know these sources are producing these things. However, there are other metrics that are very, very important. One of the measures of how strong our brand is and how long lasting our brand is going to be, if we're really future-proofing our business, it's going to be those brand awareness metrics. What kind of traffic are we getting? Where's the traffic coming from? Who's visiting our website? How many people are visiting our website? What are they clicking on? Those brand awareness metrics are very important as well, because we want to stay in front of not just the people who are ready to buy today, which is a tiny percent of people, but also the people who are going to be ready next week and next month and next year. They're absolutely going to call us, right? So that's what tracking allows us to do when we track both of those metrics. So make sure that you are tracking. And number 5, finally, and definitely not the least important, is to hire when you need to. If you are not really sure when that's going to be, if you're focusing on marketing efforts, but you're getting lackluster results, if you're finding that marketing gets pushed on the back burner, if you're hitting a ceiling, if you're saying, I have no time left to do marketing, it's time to find someone. Because the marketing is such a vital and important, essential function of your business. If you don't have someone focused on marketing every single week, that you're probably just focused on those leads right now, right? You're not future-proofing your business. You're not building a predictable stream of inbound appointments because you're not building up that strong brand. You're probably wasting money. You're probably wasting resources because you're not spending that time on marketing. So if numbers 1 through 4 are neglected in any way, it's time to hire. Once you find that person, you're going to find that that position pays for itself, because that is what's going to generate that demand, and then you're going to send your sales team out to convert it. So make sure that you have someone in that seat who's focused on marketing every single day. Ideally, we want someone who wakes up and thinks about, how can I get my company in front of new eyes every single day? When we have that, it's incredibly powerful what our brands can do. So in conclusion, if you're bringing your marketing in-house, the first thing to remember is keep it simple. Consistency over perfection. And then the 5 things we want you to remember are Schedule out that time and protect it. Show up on search, social, and in your local area. Create video content, make sure that you are tracking, and make sure you have someone in your team in the seat who owns marketing, whether that's you, the owner, or whether that's a social media manager or a marketing manager when it's time. But make sure that you're doing those 5 things, and you're gonna build a strong foundation to a strong brand so that you can generate your own inbound leads and really future-proof your business. If you're finding that you're excited to bring marketing in-house, and now that you know these 5 steps, you have more direction, but you could use some more guidance or some personal feedback, reach out to our team. We want to be a resource for you. But if you have just started bringing marketing in-house and you haven't done those things yet, go sit down, do those 5 things, dedicate that time, protect that time, start to show up on search and social and in your local area, create that video content, and really make sure you're focusing on your brand. And I'm so excited to see it grow.